For the next story, in Kabul, Afghanistan, 24 people were killed by gunmen in a maternity ward, including babies and pregnant women, in a primarily Shia district. Around the same time, a suicide bomber attacked a funeral in Nangarhar, Afghanistan, killing 40 others. Both of these attacks were claimed by ISIS. However, the Afghanistan government says the hospital attack was done by the Taliban. The Taliban denies this and says it was, in fact, ISIS. But this gets even weirder, right? It's not like they're just blaming the Taliban because they want to. Some Afghanistan officials claim that ISIS doesn't even have a presence in Afghanistan, and any other terror group that may exist is simply a Taliban affiliate. First Vice President Amrullah Saleh, a prominent skeptic of the theory that an ISIS affiliate operates in Afghanistan, tweeted that the attack was perpetrated by the, quote, terrorist Taliban, their current or former allies, or their ideological twins, end quote. Twins! Insinuating any terrorist attack is basically Taliban, and if it's not, it might as well be the Taliban. Government spokesman Sadiq Siddiqui made this insinuation explicit. He said the Taliban, quote, are behind all the violence and crimes in this country.
This country is so screwed up, man.
First Vice President Saleh also said, quote, evidence shows that the Taliban are in a celebratory mood for massacring Shiites in a maternity hospital in Kabul, end quote, and chided people who believed ISIS did it by calling out, quote, some for expecting their lies and accusing the fictional, end quote, ISIS.
It's an urban legend that never happened.
Now, there is like a weird kernel of truth to the Afghanistan claim that terrorism in the country is from Taliban or affiliates of the Taliban, because virtually all Afghani ISIS members are Taliban defectors. So in a way, it's right when he said it's either to the Taliban or a Taliban affiliate, or their ideological twin. Those things are true for ISIS and Afghanistan. However, that glosses over the fact that they have completely different motives and they're constantly fighting with each other. ISIS in Afghanistan is called ISIL-KP or ISK. The full name is the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, Khorasan Province. Khorasan Province is the name of an Iranian province, but it's also a historical name for the northeast part of the Persian Empire, which included much of Afghanistan. ISK formed in 2014 when ISIS sent representatives to meet members of the Pakistan Taliban. And then in the next few months, ISK formed in eastern Afghanistan and northern Pakistan, and by early 2015, they released a statement pledging allegiance to al-Baghdadi and ISIS. ISK primarily recruits at madrasas, which are like colleges of Islamic learning. They recruit both lecturers and students. So this is also the support base of the Taliban, although the Taliban seems to have at least a little more appeal to commoners. But either way, the point of bringing this up is the class characteristic of Islamic groups isn't highlighted much. ISK and ISIS generally is constituted largely by middle class and upper middle class reactionaries, contradictory to the Western media portrayal of ISIS as a bunch of goat farmers. For example, al-Baghdadi had a PhD, and one of his right-hand men was a former physics professor. ISIS began recruiting disgruntled Taliban members more actively, leading the Taliban leader to demand al-Baghdadi stops. But by late 2015, there was a gun battle between Taliban and ISIS that resulted in about 100 deaths, and there have been several battles since then.
So you up for a sparring match?
The U.S. has labeled ISIS in Afghanistan as a terrorist organization, and so has India, but no other country has. The tenuous truce that Trump made with the Taliban recently involved in an agreement to stop drone striking the Taliban and to focus on ISIS in Afghanistan instead. But again, it seems like the group is a little hard to make sense of, as many officials don't even believe it exists, and it also seems a lot more secretive, small, hidden, and obscure than a lot of ISIS groups, especially at their heights.
Love, football on TV, shots of Gina Lee, hanging with my friends.